Hey boardies, welcome to AmassGames. Today I'm bringing a video about the website BoardGameGeek. Some of you may be familiar with it. Of course, at some point you weren't, which was like myself. I heard the name BGG mentioned a lot. It took many years before I actually found out about it. Today I'm hoping to take you through the numerous features of the website, how it's changed, and actually how you can navigate it and perhaps discover something you didn't know about. Aside from that, of course, there's many other videos coming, more about maybe Board Game Geek, more about many other things such as Board Game Arena, where I've got over 65 videos, I believe, which are already ranked the most watched video or the most thumbed up or something like that. So I'm just going to re-click BGG just to show that this is the front page. There is a name behind BGG, that's a different logo. And as you can see, 3 million now users are on here, according to Aldi, who is the co-founder of Board Game Geek. There's another person involved. I don't know anything that's happened about that person. I do hope they're okay. Aldi has messaged me in the past in a forum or something like that. Haven't met Aldi in person, but I do hope to in due course. And as you can see, we have an explore going on here, a shout out. I've already clicked through this link. It's related to Black History Month. And I have actually been in the States when it was, well, before Black History Month, but back when it was Martin Luther King Day. And I attended a fantastic museum there at the time. Scrolling down, we have got the hotness. This is the top 50 most trending games today. Now, there has been a new change to this layout. I recall when it used to be on the left-hand side, and to be honest, I rarely actually click on the homepage to BoardGameGeek, as I tend to find I'm just in a rabbit hole for the next 6 or 7 hours looking at what is on that list. Out of interest, though, in this hotness, what you can find out is games that most people are checking out. You can do it based on the game, the publisher, and also the designer. And I recall, as I've played for many years with the sister of Brett J. Gilbert, who has been on #1 on this list, and he's designed games such as Roll for Adventure and other games such as Elysium, which is nominated for Spiel.digital. Aside from that, you can check out various videos of his and other games on the channel. There's about 800 videos currently at time of recording. Now, in terms of this list, there's numerous reasons why these games are on here. Unsettled is a new game coming out, I believe. We have Ark Nova, which Tom Vassell, who I have met numerous times, has actually got his #1 game of all time. And Summit, which is the #1 game for Trey Parker, which is also mentioned on the Dice Tower. Earth is a game I have been checking out, and it's very interesting based on, I think, the analysis they've put behind the balancing of the game. And Subterra, I've played numerous times, winning it on hard, finally, and playing numerous versions of it, seeing it in the glow in the dark, and various other things. I will click through these links in a moment, but just to let you know, there are other games coming. Astronauts in particular is the follow-up to Aeon's End, which I love a lot, which I'll show you in due course, and other new games coming. I've played Evolution and conversed with both the founder of North Star Games, Dominic Krapichetz, and also with Nick Bentley, who has been involved in the past. There are feature videos. I don't believe I've ever been in this, but hopefully I might do in due course. And I've met Eric as well over in Essen. And moving on, you have board game news, more information going on here, more things people are discussing, and I've appeared lots of times, I believe, over here too. Giveaways where you can get a badge and things like that. Going into details, this solo game over here, Hostage Negotiator, Kingdom Death Monster, that's what that stands for. Quite a bleak, quite a graphic, quite a mature audience game, which I've yet to play but would love to. Various geek lists, I do have some, I will be showing you some. And then going on, in this instance, we're having an Easel Come. Now, before I refreshed, they were talking about cattle ranching games such as El Gaucho. I have played the Galleryist of those 6. I look forward to playing Modern Art and Canvas very soon. Blogs, various people do this. I've also appeared here too. I've conversed, funnily enough, with Tony Boydell a few times as well. And if we keep on scrolling down, images that have been very popular. And I'll show you some of mine. We have hot videos, again, various reasons how they can be defined, and again, a spotlight where this has been advertised. So moving back up, let me move on to telling you a bit more about the hotness. As I said, you can click on See All, and as you can see, here's the hotness, and here is what I referred to before. You can have it based on game, and again, new versions coming out. I've played Lost Ruins of Arnak, there's a new expansion, played Dune Imperium, played Town Garden, very keen to play 51st State, played Spirit Island, and various other things. So you can change this, as I said, to people, and as you can see, we have Martin Wallace. Let's just click on Maxim Tardif. I don't recognize the name. Okay, so for some reason, there's something going on with this person. Oh, there it is, Earth. So you can see it all kind of links back to each other. Aside from that, of course, if you do want to see those other videos, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell as I look forward to bringing you more. There's, of course, chances that I won't be covering off everything. So going back to BoardGameGeek homepage, as you can see, things change. There's things you can buy. You can go to a dashboard and you can have this customized as you like. Again, I don't tend to go here. I tend to go to various other pages for various reasons. And in terms of going on, we're going to move on to the browse. Just to let you know, you can see other things, video related stuff, RPGs, and a little bit about me, which I will do in a separate video. So of course, watch this space for that. I do talk about how I actually got into board games and how I moved away from videos. So now we can talk about all the different board games out there. There's over 121,000 currently on this website. This website, by the way, is one of the top 3 websites I use in a typical year. IMDb I've been using for 22 years at least, and I've even ranked in the top 1,000 voters on there too. So this is the most popular games of all time. Don't worry too much about my rating. There's lots of reasons behind that, and sometimes even if I only play it once, it's so I can give a quick gist as to what I felt about it, and you can find out about that in due course. I play the majority of this top 100 list. There's about 5 or so that I haven't, but I'll tell you I've got a Geek list, which I'll come on to about how that works, and this changes all the time. Obviously, everyone's different, just like films. It's highly opinionated, and I fully respect that. Everyone's different about what they like. Just moving on to categories, though. There's various things. So abstract strategy is one thing that I like. And for example, of these ones, I've played all of these 4. I haven't played Calico or War Chest. The top 3 you can also find on my channel. I've also got a link through to actually the playlist for abstract strategies. Artists, so I think art is very important in obviously in board games, and some of my favourites would probably include Clemens France, so much so that I even have a playlist through for that as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of different pages out there. I'm just going to try and scroll through and find someone on this front page that I can recall, that of course I can go ahead and click on. But yeah, Clemens France is a big reason why I've actually purchased and acquired many other games, obviously in the same theme, the same style, and I guess the variety that you can find. There's no one that's really sticking out here, but of course, if there's someone that you see that is of interest, Scott Adams may be familiar, then of course you can let me know in the comments, and I do reply very quickly and as soon as I can. Aside from that, check out, if you do like photographs as well, if you check out the description in the YouTube video. So here we go. I do know this is a designer, but I think we'll just click on this for the time being. This guy has been involved in One Night Ultimate Werewolf and stuff like that. And I didn't realize that he's actually been involved in the art as well. So you can now click on a specific person and see that this person has been involved in art. This guy is associated with Bezier Games. As you can see, you have up to 25 things per page, but you can change the layout. So yes, over on Instagram, over 2,200 photographs if you want to see more about that, and over 100 places where I demonstrate and show off games. So by publishers as well, you can of course view through this as well and see anything you might want to. I have a number of games which are regarded in the public domain, but it's just depending on how they do it. Again, many different pages. We're talking 118 different pages. So very diverse industry based on, of course, the number of small publishing houses out there. Over 5,000 new games are manufactured in the United States alone or published. So for that reason alone, you're obviously going to have a huge plethora of first-time publishers. And it's great to, of course, champion them as they become the next big thing. But of course, you have to start somewhere. So there are a few names on here that I do recognize. I think we're going to start off with Abacus Spieler. So this is a European publisher, and obviously they have the rights to some of these games. You might recognize Race for the Galaxy, I think, with Rio Grande at Time of Recollection. As you can see, they are based over in Germany. I do have some of their editions of games, and you can find them on the channel. I think Darjeeling would be one of them. As you can see, Rio Grande Games have the rights over in the States, but many manufacturers find it also a lot more efficient to have their own people who can do the rules in a certain language and do it like that. If you happen to zoom in, you can actually go into the detail. Now, of course, there are other playthrough videos a bit like this you can find on the channel, and I think if and when I get 10 of them, I will, of course, put them into their own playlists, such as, I don't know, website walkthroughs and apps, and I have done other videos such as for board game stats, which is around 20 minutes. Honours as well, you can go through to, and of course this is to do with various different awards that have come out. If we go to something more recent, now I do recall this Scotland Yard won that particular year for Spiel.digital, I believe, and I will be talking about that in another video. If we want to go through to the most recent years, Kenneth Spiel, this sounds familiar, was it June? It was Paleo, there we go, and very keen, I haven't played Paleo yet, but if you click on something like Paleo, there's various things you can do, and I do know it's in my wish list. So you can go for wish list, like to have, if it's a must have, and I'll talk to you more about this, but it's ultimately how you can change things around. So if I wanted to, I could change it, and you can see my status has updated. So moving on, we have got Gone Cardboard. This is something related to obviously BGG, something whereby they're promoting certain things. I have done a video already for Patchwork Valentine's Edition, but as you can see, there's various different ones out there. British designer here. Let's say it's a father and daughter combo. On to recent additions. Obviously, these are new things you might want to check out. Again, you could be stuck here for a long time. Wolfgang Warsch is obviously sequel to Taverns of Tiefenthal. There's certain information going on here and what people are talking about. As you can see, an expansion. On from that, we have then got previews, things that are coming to the channel, and also things which are basically things coming along. So as you can see, this is in the past. I do recall Spiel. I've been involved as a member of the press with Media Accredited with Spiel for 2020. I had about 38 different games that I was on the front page of the game section. And I've also been to Spiel 2018, where I was invited, amongst others, with Yellow and other companies to sort of show off various things. Moving on to families, so this is an interesting area. This is where you can talk about the different kind of thematic elements you have. So Bear and Park would probably be under Bears. And if you look into it, there it is straight away. As you can see, I haven't deliberately researched these things. I want to keep it a lot more flowing and fresh, just like my one-shot videos, which are like, as I explain in person. Of course, yes, there are bears in My Little Scythe. And as you can see, I do have a video out for this. Just show you how videos work. You click on the video section and you can go to it. I do videos with Tabletop Tolson, and here you go, My Little Scythe, the dice instancing video, did a solo playthrough, had a setup, play and review, and also I've also done obviously an unboxing to show you what's in there. Okay, so let's go back. And in fact, we talked about this game before Kim got that. Moving on to mechanics or mechanisms, as many people seem to be correcting me and many others on. That's how it should be named. You can have things like fixed placement auctions. I do like auctions in a game. Keyflower has it, Cyclades. I've played the other two games in the series. Furnace I've yet to play, but very keen to. And I do have the app for Stockpile to bring you a video on that too. So this particular game, Cyclades, is in a trilogy, I believe, from Inish and also Kemet. And let's moving on. We have now top designers, my favorite things. Everybody gets games for different reasons. I've talked about artists. I like to know which artists have been involved, but also designers are more important to me. Is how you actually play the game. It gives me trust in what I'm seeing. That allows me to know probably if I've liked it and can play it again and interested in playing it again. I've probably got five board game designers that I particularly respect, enjoy, and would happily potentially, shall we say, part money with to consider their offering as something where I don't believe I'm wasting my time. And I think time and money is very important to be aware of, because when you have people around, there's also that credibility to show you that you haven't wasted their time playing something which you might not be familiar with. Now, Kickstarter is another thing. There's hype, there's a hype train and other stuff to do with that. So it's something to be aware of. But if I go to a specific one, I'm thinking of Brandt, Inka and Marcus Brandt, which, as you can see, there are a lot of A's on here. Again, even more pages, 175. But Inka and Marcus Brandt are a husband and wife team. They've actually had their children involved as well in some of their board games. They've done the exit games, amongst others. And for me, there's a fluidity to their, I think, either the mechanisms or the way a game flows that I find very appealing. And when I get to them, you'll see exactly what I'm referring to. As you can see, there's a good way of going through and maybe even discovering a certain person, a certain designer, or Tony Boydell we can click on as well, or maybe a group of designers. If we talk about the game elements, it's actually a game whereby people have worked as a team. They have chosen to work on a project and they are referred to as a brand. Another one being Prospero Hall. So here we go, Inka and Marcus Brandt. There we go, Inka and Marcus Brandt. Their top game, Raj of the Ganges, Village, etc. And you can see all the games they're involved with. There's the picture. You can contact them there if you need to. As a solo designer, nope, husband and wife all the way. As you can see, they've been involved in the art as well, just for 4 of them. Editing as well, not necessarily as a writer, nope. As you can see, things do vary, and yeah, definitely a fan. You can heart that, and we can come back to that. Moving on, accessories. I do have videos on the channel to do with accessories. Everything from where you can hold your cards to how you can store things differently. And as you can see, there's lots of things specific to a specific game on how you choose to store something. Speaking about this, you have inserts, you have numerous things you can do. I do have a number of different things. For example, I do have the Stonehenge, I believe. And yes, you could basically add that to your list as something that you have, and you can show off your item. It allows you to play the game differently. There's also stuff to do with promos, expansions, mini expansions. I also have a playlist through if you want to check out various games. Going to a random game, this will be interesting. Let's see what happens here. So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's and Quidditch card game, not a very good rating. You can click on comments to see exactly what that does, and you can see why they don't like it. Okay, so it's to do with Uno, which did actually win. Oh, well, it didn't win. It came out in 1971. There was no 50th anniversary edition, but for some reason, that's what it is. I fancy just doing this again now. Oh dear, this is going to be horribly wrong. And here we go, Zombie Master. So this one in particular, abstract game, as you can see, it has converted it and found a filter. And then we can now go on to other things. So podcasts, I don't tend to do podcasts presently, but there's lots of different podcasts on there. And there's a wiki where you can know a little bit more about the websites. Onto forums, I've spent a long time in the forums before. You can understand who the various people are, introduce yourselves. I've been there before. If you need help with anything, obviously for certain people from various communities, women's in gaming. There is a section, should you be interested in politics and adult themes, let's say. There used to be a section on here, but it's moved to a guild, because it's very controversial for many people, and that isn't necessarily what this is about. For me, it's about obviously championing board games and discovery and helping people have a great time, and ideally being sociable. That can of course be including solo play and immersive. That's all these things that I really like about it. Discussing games, and people do say I do play more than the majority, and if I can do something sooner the better. Fantastic. So, yep, you can search for various things, various keywords. You can even search for people based on locations. As and when about various things, you can contact people. I've spoken to a few of these. You've also got subscriptions. So you have managing items by subscription. And this area I don't find works too well, because I generally have to only go to managing subscriptions, but it's about where things are, finding various things from various games, and all these various things I follow. So if anyone talks to me about missing a component, they can contact me or they can unsubscribe. And in this instance, someone has got back to me, and you can see how things have gone. So that's my photo. Was I missing something? Moving on, we've also got hotness. So over here, this is again what people are working on, what they like, various other things. And then we can move on to everything that's active. And over here, we have got obviously various things that people are thinking. Can you help them with board game design and stuff like that? And under board game design, I do have a section there as people have discovered me for board game consultancy and such like. All right, the next area to talk about, we have got what's active. This is the most common prolific area that people are talking about. It has a lot of comments. Some things are pinned, and sometimes a game obviously keeps on rolling on. Moving on, we have got bookmarks. These are things that you may want to considering looking at again, and it's not something that I choose to go for. Obviously, community rules, no spamming is allowed. You can't just get people to deliberately try and follow your stuff, and hopefully people will obviously respect that. Next up, we have geek lists. So I do have my geek list. I'll be talking to you about these. I won't look into these in due course, and quite clickbaitery there, but by all means, respect. So we have got bookmarks, geek lists, obviously creating new. This is how you can create a new one. Shopping, the geek market. I do have a geek market. So I might have, and I sometimes do get duplicates of games accidentally. So you can choose things. You can go to your dashboard. You can see what you're selling, what you've sold, completed sales, that kind of stuff. And the way you want to do it through BoardGameGeek is they get 3% commission, including the shipping fees. And considering the audience, that's not bad whatsoever. So I've talked to you about guilds briefly, and there are various ones on here. So if you're thinking of maybe meeting up with somebody else because you're not close by, there are various guilds, and I am involved with a few of them. You can also talk about stats. What's the most played game per month? If you want to see the top 50 most logged plays games per month, I have a video for that too. I do it every month, and I give reasons behind why things have gone up, why they've gone down, what's joined the list, what's left the list, and also the trends behind them as well. So over here you can see the most wanted, things that people are really after. And as you can see right now, Scythe, very highly popular game, played it at different player counts, and onto bugs. So I have found some bugs. You can report that as you find them. If we talk about Geek mods, I mentioned users briefly. You can search them by country, location. So I've looked up people in my own town who maybe up for a game. You can look into swapping stuff around. Also files, I haven't submitted any or many files, but if you find something that's missing from like a rulebook, you can help as long as you get consent. I have loads of images uploaded, so that's something else you can do. You can also look into reviews. So I've done numerous reviews, excuse me, and also numerous videos. So we'll talk about that in a moment. If you want to go over to session reports, that's when I play through something. So you'll see all this in a moment. Also blogs. You can then also look into, like I said, podcast episodes. And in this last section, we're talking about how you can actually add a board game. I don't believe I've got round to adding one yet, but I do intend to doing a few. You can again look into various family games and all the rest. Finally, we have the help, so we can go through this. And now we're moving over here. So this is the dashboard. I mentioned this before. That's obviously how you want to get back to the screen, which you can tailor. You can look into Geekmail messages. So I've got various messages in here, outbox, drafts, sent, stuff like that. And then you've got myself. So this is my username. So you can just click on that. You can then see my profile. So you can go through. And as I mentioned, I play a lot, and I am known as the Vorspieler in German, which means much player. And the serious gamer is what others have said. I tend to play all the time and dream about it and whatever. And again, if you want to look me up, you can just, the best thing is type in Google space AmassGames and you'll find me. And through here, you can also actually type in BGG AmassGames, BGG space AmassGames. Now this will come up. Obviously, all my stuff on here, obviously videos do play, so you can watch stuff. And yeah, now we're going to move on to the right-hand side in a moment, but you can obviously bold stuff up as well. Obviously, some of my videos and reviews I've done. So this isn't about me. This is about BGG, but the fact is you can have links that obviously flow through. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and talk to you through about micro badges. So micro badges, when the page loads, apologies, it doesn't seem to have loaded. Let's just try the back button. There we go. So it loads a new page. So don't lose your space. So now you can have flag counters to tell you what you've been doing. You can have various little special widgets. And now with micro badges, so if you've got over 10,000 thumbs up, you can get gold meeple flicker thing here. You can get copper reviewers, so amount of reviews I've done, the size of my collection, certain things to how long I've been on the channel, things to do with BoardGameGeek, things to do with board games, any other things that you're involved with in contests you enter, you can get badges for as well. And then, of course, micro badge related stuff. And then this was going to be in Nintendo, but Sega got in the middle somehow. Obviously, you can add a website. You can add where you're from. This has been confirmed that this is incorrect. There's a slight bug or mistake, at least at the time, which has been confirmed that isn't the date I joined. It was prior, and there's an own thing behind that. So just to let you know, behind that. Then on the right-hand side, obviously, the amount of 8 games that I own. Presently, it is being outnumbered. It was kind of a plan to kind of ensure something was like that. So all the different games I've owned, and what you can do is you can list it based on title, as you can imagine how that works. You can export it. That's something else you can do. You can actually look into the version. So I might have the German edition. Let's say I might have the Amigo Spiel edition compared to something else. I can look into how everyone else is rating it. I can obviously check that I do own it, and in some cases I have multiple copies, so it'll say previously owned as well. And sometimes, as per my profile, some games I don't previously own them, but it's the only way I'm currently flagging it up to say I own it, but it's not in the house. So if I don't have it on me, but I have it in one of the numerous events of a separate list, and it's just a way of me filtering to find where on earth it is. Okay, aside from that, let's talk about this stuff over here. Over here, we have got obviously what I think about the game or whatever it might be. And you can look into obviously based on all or do this. As I said, you can download it. Aside from that, you can look into columns. You can add various information here, which talks about other things, such as obviously maybe adding number of voters. So I might rate something highly, but it might not have many votes, which might impact what you make a decision. As you can see, there's a thing going on here showing actually, obviously, the time it takes to load a page. There may be a few reasons behind that. Being an English language website, it is around lunchtime at time of recording. That may be a factor. So if you want to add in, again, certain other factors, number of votes, this is a good way of saying, well, that's fairly reasonable for a rating compared to something with hardly any ratings at all. So there you go, you can add extra columns. Going back, we are also going to show you some other stuff under your owner profile. So under your profile, you can obviously hit previously, you can do traded games, all the other things will kick in. You can have it all listed together. So anything that you are interested in wishing for, which I've already looked into, things you may have on pre-order, things that are arriving, then you can do that too. But something you can do is go into more decimal places than usual. So you can do many reasons. Obviously, the ratings you can choose for here as a recommended ratings if it's outstanding or something. It's slightly different to how I would rate a film or a movie, depending on where you're watching. Now, we saw me check, obviously, Marcus Brandt. So from a game perspective, these are 3 things that I like or I'm following currently. We've talked about my collection. So that obviously takes me directly just to that location. So that's over here. And I do apologize for any pop-ups. I did think everything was turned off. And again, if you're enjoying this, remember, please like and share and let me know what your thoughts are. So logged plays, well, I do log plays, and I've done that more and more now. So I log my plays so we can look into dates and stuff behind it. So you can see obviously what that might be. So on an individual basis, what that might represent. And as you can see, I've got various things. If and when it has happened to be in BoardGameGeek and also BoardGame Arena, I list that too. And again, that's how I list it. But for something like the Crew, it does take as long to play in reality as it does to take online, which is why I do choose to do it like that. Some people are very much against it. The majority, as you'll see in my top 50 most played games, which comes out about the 7th of the month, you'll notice that there's big uplifts and variances when you see stuff like this. Okay, so you can see obviously various player accounts and playing games, where I'm playing them, and as you can see, these do vary as well, and the various things that we're doing. You can, of course, filter it by other things. We've looked at it by month briefly. We can look at it by thumbnails based on, obviously, a bit more detail behind the game, which for you, maybe you're more of a visual person, you don't need to see actually the various other things behind it. As you can see, I'm soloing these games presently, just due to a few other factors. So obviously you do need to hit go. And here you go, you have your name over here. Hello, I'm Simon Lavender, AmassGames. I'm from the UK. AmassGames is another thing you can add in here, another thing you can add on here, and various other things, such as obviously I've uploaded lots of images with at least 3 thumbs per, I think, 100 odd images. And here are the games I've played. And before I go on to, let's say, expansions, we can do that too. And you're focusing on that. You can choose which games have I played a certain amount of times. As you can see, not a big amount, but you can change that. It's a valid date. And you can see that I have played some games, well, at least some expansions, numerous times. And you can choose to obviously filter that off, etc. So speaking about micro badges again, you can get some of these things. Sometimes you have to purchase them. In this instance, it's automatically uploaded when you have 100 images with at least 3 images. I'll come back to how that works in a moment. But for now, we're going to move on to the next bit. So we talked about logs plays. Tags isn't something I tend to work with, but it is something that certain things kick in and you can choose to do it. So it seems that I have actually managed to get a lot of different pages of tags going on here. This is a game that I've rated a 6. I've played all the undos so far and I've ranked them all. And by all means, of course, do check that out. Let me know your thoughts. But as you can see, I've got numerous tags. In fact, 7 wonders I've got 11 times on here. So that's rather interesting. So, oh, I know what it is. This is to do with when I use a BG stats, you can rank things. So I know that Azul, I've done Azul things for various other things when I've played them. And again, we talked about subscriptions, trades, and market we've talked about. You can go into your account, which in case that shows any passwords, I don't think it should, but I'll leave that for now. Talk to you about guilds. Just curious about some of these guilds. Yes, I'm on numerous guilds here, and that's very much of interest. And then if you go through to your account again, we talked about wish lists, Geek Buddies. So these are the people who I like to message, and you can find it. Again, it's all open information. It's easy to find. Edit seems to be how you have to do it. And here you go. Again, Brett J. Gilbert's come up again. So here you go. You can now add it to groups. So there's various things you can do and various other people that I know locally or whoever I game with. Let's move on to galleries. So this is something I'm going to change a bit. These are various sites on my stats. So for January, 137 plays. So I played games 137 times, and you can see information here. Here is me unboxing the game Western Legends Blood Money, which is the new expansion. You may have just seen with me, of course, have that ring there a second ago. So if you want to go back to images, there's other things you can do. You can, of course, subscribe to it. You can share it around. And if I just go back to profile, there's other things that you can select. This is to do with Geek stuff. So if you go over to Geek stuff, before I do that, I want to talk to you about the hotness. If you are interested in certain games that you want to discover, you can see my average rating is 6.3. So you might have thought a lot of my ratings are quite low, but actually you can see that anything beyond a 6 maybe or a 6, actually that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think having a bell curve is definitely not bad. So these are the games I really like, very much fluid games. Lots of people won't agree with that because I think they think it's quite hard, but I like the variety and how you can make your own map, basically, your own routes. Over here, these are the games I have not played, but are very, very keen to play, hence them being on here. What are those would you like me to see reviewed? Please let me know. And then we are moving over to Geek stuff. This relates to any balance you might have, so let's go ahead and purchase a micro badge in a moment. I'm on 31 other Geek Buddy lists. I've got 94 in mine. I may have answered some questions, so what we're going to do is find a micro badge I haven't purchased yet and go ahead and purchase one. So here we go. Which of these haven't I purchased? I'm a fan of Good Little Games free print and play micro games. That looks quite of interest. The goal is to win. I think I've already got that one. I like learning games more than winning them. Yep. Vegan. Rescue my pets. Okay. So numerous things on here. I'm pretty sure I've got a coffee drinker, let's say. I'm not drinking coffee presently. I don't have it, so I can hit buy. It's going to cost me 8 Geek Gold. And as you saw, I had 19 odd. So you purchase it. When it purchases it, it appears here, and I can change the slots around, so I can choose where I want to place it. So there you can see, I've got all of mine here. Right, we need to go back to my Geek stuff, and I'll show you the rest on that page. And that is towards the end of what I was going to give you in this initial video about the website BoardGameGeek. And here you go. So I've got a number of asked questions. Guys, this stuff down the same is the same. So if we go over to ask 3 good questions. Distance or masks, I'm saying about obviously COVID and stuff like this. How did you find out about BoardGameGeek? Again, you can be doing it. And you better be quick if you want to find those answers. So yes, this is going away. So you can scroll to the bottom. You can go ahead to the final page and discover what on earth is going behind it. All the memes are starting to kick in. You can also go, again, back to profile, go to Geek stuff. I still need to tell you about my Geek lists as well. So Geek stuff, here we have it. We have got those questions asked. My interests, so you can add anything. I've added things recently. Film, travel, board games, those are my top 3 interests, and various other things that I like. I also contribute about various things as well. So you can go to contributions. I've done 32 reviews. In this instance, these are specific in how they are. So this is basically to do with a written review. So 3 thumbs up, 10 replies on various different things. And yeah, it's very nice. But for me, I've now switched more to videos, as you can probably tell, like Tom Vassell, fun enough. And here we go, more things around here, more things you can do. And more about expansions. Images, so I'm actually going to tag this up better. But you can actually see, obviously, I've been making numerous pictures and I like to upload them. And there's a whole host of stuff that you might want to check out, comment on and let me know. And of course, Instagram has it too, which could have a bigger audience, obviously, depending on who wants to be seeing it. So this is where I've got some thumbs. Obviously, I've given thumbs too. But I mainly play more than go on here, despite going on here a lot. It's usually on the first place I go to, as I mentioned. So this is where I've given thumbs as well, which isn't a tiny amount. And moving on, again, my stats as well. So this is really interesting to see what I have played differently. So we've talked about top ratings, largest disparities. So you can see, compared to everyone else, Star Trek Ascendancy, case in point, takes way too long, and people don't disagree for those who've actually dealt with it. Going back, we have obviously the gallery, which is the way it saves it. Videos, so nothing here which is of interest, but there are other ways of seeing videos, which we'll go to in a second. And we also have guilds, which I talked about. So I'll quickly go back to contributions before I show you my geek lists. And again, under videos and images and stuff, you have to do it based on type. So as a review, something I've put under review, which doesn't include everything, shows you the length, talks to you about the video, and actually a little bit more about it. Okay, so geek lists, the thing I was really keen to show you. Now it's my geek lists. So I've made games that I demoed, games I like to play, my top 250 games, trilogy games where the third's the best. We talked about Innis, we talked about Mexica and other things like this. Games where the second is the best, and/or stuff like this. And let's click on something. So Uwe Rosenberg games I've played, or this is interesting because I know the BGA guys actually agree with me on numerous points. So you can go through and look through this. So this is some things whereby on a phone, at time when I did this list, it's not well designed. And people have uploaded and commented and given reasons behind it. So you can obviously have your view on that too. And very keen to know your thoughts. Of course, this is just something to help people out. And if I go to the top again, obviously people have chosen to recommend it. So people have given me money. So that's another thing. So that's something which you might find of interest. Okay, so this has been a video, obviously, on the website BoardGameGeek. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a bit different. I really hope you have something to learn and discover. If I go to, let's say, Furnace. So obviously, I haven't played Furnace. Let's just say, actually, there's another game I want to talk about, 1565. When you go to my page, you can see the rating that I gave it, but I actually want to change that rating because of the solo play is better than I anticipated. So I'm going to go here and I can go in and rate it. So right now it's a 7.7. If I want to change it, then all I can do is click on a number and better than expected solo play experience. Okay, and I can change it and I might say, so you can go higher, but I might do 7.91. I don't know. Hit save. You can add extra information in there. You can scroll down again. You can see videos on here. If you go through to say this, you can find, I think my video's here. There you go. So there's my video, my sort of play video. A bit more thumbs up, but of course people can comment on it too. And there we go. So this has been BGG, AmassGames, telling you about this. More videos coming of this type, but I'm keen to know what you would like me to prioritize. I'm keen to talk about different manufacturers that are out there, about obviously different publishers, maybe what they focus on, and of course, maybe different retailers, if that's of interest, and maybe different distributors and things like that. So please let me know and speak to you soon.